What is up, guys? Your boy Raven here today, and I'm right now probably in London, on my Christmas break and my New Year's Eve break. But I wanted to talk about one thing that kind of crossed my mind last week, or as of the time of the recording, day ago. So we're getting closer and closer to the end of the year, right? 2019 ends, and I thought to myself, like, how I'm gonna sum up this year, right? In terms of Pokemon TCG. What happened in Pokemon TCG? How do I rate this year? Because again, I don't want to rate the whole season, right? Because, well, there was rotation, so I want to rate the whole year from January up until now. And honestly, I think, well, a lot of you, I don't know if you're gonna disagree, but I do think the year was, well, to a certain degree boring in terms of Pokemon TCG, and it was overpowered, and the sheer dominance, of certain things was definitely too much. But let's start, with January, February, and actually February set, which was Team Up, right? Team Up came, February, definitely changed a lot of things with cards like Pikarom, at first Zapdos Jirachi, right? Jirachi, the card that, was being played throughout the year and is going to be played until rotation, definitely, which is, going to be in 2 years for Jirachi. Remember that. Not rotation, but rotation for Jirachi as a set. So many things that happened. Tag teams were introduced for the first time, which, well, we're all really skeptical about, but, as the year progressed, we just got, oh boy, right? All in on tag teams. Everyone was just hooked with the idea and they went crazy with it. So definitely Team Up started this trend of electric type, of lightning type dominance that was up until, you can clearly say, up until the recent set, which is Cosmic Eclipse. So almost 9 months of dominance of Pikarom, electric type, Zapdos. Well, Zapdos kind of fell flat later, but definitely a big dominance. Especially if you look at the first few weeks of the Team Up, definitely Zapdos Jirachi decks where then people learn how to play Pikarom. There was more support towards Pikarom, and then everyone's like, yeah, Pikarom, yes, because it was a great deck. Honestly, if you can actually get 3 energies turn 1, well, why you shouldn't? But then, then came another fantastic set, which was Unbroken Bonds, with another powerhouse, another tag team that dominated the field, which was, as we all know, as it's still winning, Reshi Zod, with, I think, the most broken card of the year easily, which is Welder. The card that just, enabled, literally just said, I don't care about, any other type, and just, ran with it. Attaching, 3 energies per turn. Of course, 2 out of Welder, 1 from your hand, and still drawing 3 cards out of it. It's just crazy. And this just enabled Reshizard and Fire-type decks to just dominate. Because even though, later we had Unified Minds with the Mew 3, it was still, the engine was still around Welder. Even now, we see decks, even Cosmic Eclipse came out, it didn't really change a lot. And that is, my problem with this year. That new sets starting, Team Up did not change the meta a lot. So that's the thing. That's how I can sum up this year and why I say it's boring. Because every new set, even though it adds something, it didn't add enough to change the whole meta. Of course, you might say, oh yeah, but last year Zoroark was dominating, right? It's true, but we got a half of this year Zoroark, and as soon as Pikarom came out, it was gone, right? I mean, okay, people were still playing it, right? But, it was nowhere to see in top 8 situations. Even though Zoroark, they tried Muk, they tried everything, but it was just not enough to beat those guys. And just seeing, all those tag teams, especially you can actually count all those, decks, which is kind of crazy to me. The tier 1 decks from the whole year on fingers of one hand. Let's try it. Okay, let's try it. Pikarom, definitely, right? Reshizard, Well, you might say right now ADP to a certain degree. Malamar, of course. Have I missed something? I feel like I missed maybe one. I mean, stall decks, well, to a certain degree, definitely. Mew 3. Sorry, missed Mew 3. So 5 decks that were dominating the whole year, which kind of led to a lot of problems, especially right now before the Sword and Shield, which I talked to with players at, at our league. Many players were, let's say, Pikarom stopped being, the tier 1, which is around, this unified minds going to Cosmic Eclipse era. They couldn't find themselves, right? They were like, oh, I don't know if I want to spend that much money right now on the deck. I mean, I don't know, the playstyle is there. I don't want to play Welder anymore. And I found myself, in the same spot, in the same position, because I was playing the electric type, lightning type deck throughout the whole year. Then, I was like, okay, Pikarom is at a good price, let's just sell it right now. I still have Reshizad that I can work with. I had the whole deck and I played the deck. And I was like, it was good. I was winning, but it didn't felt like me. It didn't felt, it was like, oh man, it's a great deck, it's a fantastic deck, but it's just not this something, right? And I feel like majority of the players felt the same way, especially stage 2 players or baby deck players. They had to move either to control decks or just, they had to abandon stage 2s because they were unplayable, and that is a kind of an issue that I have, and it's going to continue, don't worry. So yeah, so definitely that was the year of 5 decks. There was a year of a little bit of like confusion, a year of trying to find yourself in the fire type welder world, which was not easy, right? Because you were either playing it or you were against it, and you were just like destroyed. Of course, there was also a beast box, you can say that, so that was, an option to some, definitely. But then, the beast box was just moved to Mew 3, right? So now all those things are played in Mew 3. Well, there's a Nagalord right now with Miss Magus. It is kind of winning, but still, this is not that thing, right? It's a little bit of same old. If you think about it, you still work with Beastring, you still work with Miss Magus. So for me, this year was definitely, as a player, one of like the most exciting, due to me gaining so much experience IRL. We started the year off. Again, that was, we started League this year, right? So, just going through all of that, gaining, your first challenge, playing at those challenges, getting your first cup, playing those cups, then judging them and doing all that stuff. You gain so much experience that, let's face it, online play will not give you, because you do not, like, you kind of interact with real players, but they're not in front of you, right? You have a computer that tells you what's good, what's not. IRL, you have to know it. And I think like the biggest thing that was like an eye-opener for me, and that gave me the most experience, was like play at international championships in Berlin, where I kind of missed day 2 by 3 points, and I'm kind of sad about it, because there was one guy that one turn, I know he stalled the game just to go for termination, and I just one turn too short to win the game, because I had all the pieces. He judged me into them, right? So I got all the pieces, and the last termination turn ended. I couldn't done anything, and well, it was one turn, right, from day 2. So definitely that was a downer, but it gave me this confidence boost that continued throughout the year and continues now, and definitely that was a really good experience. Because you kind of have to learn this like bigger stages, right, when you have all those players. And definitely what it helped me with is like getting more confidence in myself, and not being intimidated by my opponents. When you play someone that is someone that you've watched on streams, right? Latin America championships, like the guy that was second, and you play against, and you have a tie against him, right? And you're like, oh man, those maybe like almost. You get that kind of like, okay, I can do that. It's not that bad. Of course, all the pre-release wins, like the challenges. Definitely, cups were a little bit unlucky this year for me. I can say that, missed by 2% the top cut last time. This time I had to judge because the second judge was sick, so I couldn't play even though I really wanted to. But at the end of the day, it was all good. Pre-releases were all fun. Me being unlucky at pulls from IRL packs continued. Right, only on Bev Day I had a good pull, which is fine. But the year, definitely a good one for me and for our league. The game progresses and goes to this point of like being crazy in terms of HP. I hope Sword and Shield is going to change that, because it gets boring when we go to the game with who gets Welder first, who gets Ninetales first. It's just boring. It's boring to watch, it's boring to judge, it's boring to commentate. Well, definitely it is. Yeah, it's still boring to play because you play over and over and over again the same matchup, right? So that was also the reason in online mode, right, where people just quit for some time, where they only played against Malamar due to the format of best of one, right, not best of three online. So the whole year, rotation was supposed to change something, did not really. Tag teams dominated the whole thing, the whole field. Definitely was kind of boring in that part. I hope that in the future, every new set will bring at least, 3 to 4 decks that will be able to compete. Because, don't get me wrong, like, having one deck for a whole year is fantastic, because you don't have to spend that much money. But it kind of, makes the new set not bad, but, in your eyes, because I see that. In your eyes, it makes it, like, less relevant, right? Because, like, well, we do have a new set, but I only need one card from it, right? Which, if you look at now Sword and Shield, well, there's a lot of cards that I really want to have. And that was also the year, right, where I looked at the brand new sets and like, okay, there's 1 card, 2 cards from the set that I would really like, and nothing more. There was, of course, a restaurant that was a flop, and that was just, misjudged by me, definitely. But that was also an issue. It was like, okay, Mew 3, great. Works of Welder, we've got GXs. Reshazad, with Welder, great. So it was like, a few cards that from each set that were actually good. One thing that also kind of annoys me are league promos. Don't get me wrong, I like league promos in general, that's a great idea. But they are, like, majority of them are bad, right? Like, giving you, like, let's say, and I think that's a perfect example, for the month of June, July, right? Getting in July, Kiawe that rotates literally next month was like shot in the foot. The same goes to October netballs, Lucamine as a league challenge promo, or Elm's Lecture being given as league promo right now, where no one's gonna play it, or no one plays that as much as they played it back in like January, or when the set came out. So I think the promos should be done a little bit better. Like, hey guys, those are the new cards. We see what cards you're playing. Let's do them now as promos as well for League to appreciate you guys. Not give us promos that no one's gonna care, right? Of course, Metal Frying Pan is gonna be played right now with Sword and Shield, but there were like few promos. Like, I'm trying to remind myself, like Acrobike. Okay, I can agree on that. But, what was for, like, Pokegear 3.0 for League Cup, I would like to see it for a challenge a little bit more. Cherish Ball, that was not that bad. But, what else was there as a promo? Mysterious Treasure, again, a little bit too late. Naganadel, well, that was a year ago, so I would like to see them like back to back. So definitely, some promos first, besides that, did not came, or like came 2 months later, which was, a different problem, were not fitted, or they were not fitting the format that they were given to. Like, don't get me wrong, promos are great, those are for free, but I want them to feel like, okay, I get something that's really cool and I can use in my deck. Not something that I'll just throw and be like, alright, cool, it's there. Right? Like, if you ask me, like, what is January, I don't even know what's January promo, because I stopped caring about those that much. It's like, okay, that's another promo. It's not something that I wait for with, like, clenching my fist. Like, no, honestly, like, this year I've waited for Pokegears, which is League Cup, so you get 1 copy off if you go to 1 cup, and for Cherish Balls, which I know not every single league received. We got lucky, we received. So Mysterious Treasures maybe, but were not for me. Electro Powers, alright, that was cool, but definitely could have been better. I wish we could go back for the Soul and Shield era to energy promos, right? I mean, no one would actually be mad at that. Or not maybe Pokemon promos, but like proper supportive ones where when you give the staples, because what staples are gonna be, and just give them. Because like Netball, when they give it in October, which came yesterday, or when you're watching it like 2 weeks ago, so that was something that was supposed to come, like, it should have come, when Lost March was there, when the decks that were using it and utilizing it were there. Because who's gonna play Netball right now with so much fire type? It's gonna be hard, right? So definitely promos were a big downside as well this year. League Challenges promo, again, Volkner, that was cool. I believe there was Lucamine, there was Elm's Lecture, and I forgot the 4th one, honestly. Like, you see, like, there were not even memorable ones. Like, who wants to know Elm's Lecture right now? It looks cool, but it's not really, something you're gonna play outside of, control deck. And that's my point. So, how would I rate this year? A little bit boring. Well mismanaged in terms of, like, communication with leagues and league promos. That was quite bad. Definitely, they were not really listening to people. Bans, also, I have to mention bans. Bans done and expanded. Not really in standard format, which I wish we would see something in standard, but they are not doing them. Okay, just leave it. Yeah, it was not the best year for competitive players. I think a lot of players just took a step back. A lot of players just said like, okay, I'm gonna come back after when tag teams are gone, or we're gonna have a brand new base set. Because, well, let's be honest, this is one of those things that you just look at and it's just boring playing the same 5 decks all the time. And new sets not even adding new variety to the gameplay, right? So hopefully, fingers crossed for the next year. I do hope Sword and Shield is going to be amazing, it's going to explode, and it's going to be great, right? Because we love that game so much, so we want it to succeed, and we want to have as much fun as possible. And one more thing that was really silly, we didn't need sets that have like 300 cards. Like, we don't need that. So yeah, thank you so much for watching that. A little bit of my own recap of the year. Of course, I know if I uploaded already or they will be uploaded. Top 5 cards of the year. Top best and worst, of course, and also top 5 biggest flops of 2019 as well. And you bet Reshiram is on that list for me. So thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more videos like that. Goodbye. And good night, Raven loves you. Bye. Take care.